Yeah, a lot of really good points about authenticity, because it sort of relates to a lot of things that are happening in the industry overall. I'll make a few points just to kind of get your head right when it comes to 2020. This is always a good time of year because now we're thinking, what are we going to do next year? What are our big plans? How are we going to grow? A couple of the overall things that we always like to sort of get business owners thinking about, starting with this quote: there are no expert marketers, only experienced marketers and expert testers. That has never been more true than it is today. The testing mentality is exactly how you should go about figuring out, discovering the exact correct combination of things that you would be doing in the digital space. And it's interesting you mentioned things like design and logo. That also sort of can be tested into more than ever. A lot of times in the past, you have to just maybe have a focus group, which is valid, or maybe your friends and family say, that looks really great. More than ever now, we're able to let the market tell us precisely what's working and what's not by running a test or by doing some marketing effort and sort of watching the data, watch behavior, watch conversions, all those things. So embracing that mentality is something that has always been and will continue to be really, really important as you sort of decide where you're going to go over the next, over 2020. In terms of trends and things that are happening, the Google space obviously is constantly changing. I know Facebook is in the same situation. There's tons of things that Shawn will talk about as well. The changes we saw in 2019 that are going to continue to really impact what's going on in 2020 are, among a few, Google's emphasis on what the rest of the world, I guess, is really kind of saying about your business in the form of reviews, in the form of how people behave once they get to your website, is becoming sort of more of a validator than it ever did before. There wasn't a time that long ago when you could sort of just cram a message into the public. You could say, this is what we are, this is our message, or whatever. You can still attempt to do that, but eventually the public will react in one way or another. So a couple examples of this would be, let's just say reviews. There was a time, again, probably most of our lifetimes, when you could run a business and you were really that job. And as long as you had a massive Yellow Pages ad or a huge marketing campaign, you'd still have a line of people going out the door every morning. I joke about the Seinfeld episode of the Soup Nazi. Remember him? Like, no soup for you. He was like this incredibly rude restaurant owner. If he were around today, he'd have no shot. Yeah. So when people say to us, and it happens on social media as well, I don't know how to deal with all these bad reviews. Well, step up your game big time. We're no longer in a situation where you can't just be awesome. You really have to go over and above, because the market will basically pound you for that. And it pounds you in the form of reviews and the other things that are happening across the digital space. The other thing when it comes to design and just the entire look or purpose of your website is to give up on this idea of keyword focus and keyword stuffing, and let's see if we can trick the Google algorithm into giving us higher rank. Those are dated concepts. A lot of the times when we hear people being given the advice that you need to blog, maybe, but probably not. There are other better things that you can do on your website that provide content that also increase visitor engagement. One of my favorite examples is the magic of the FAQ. So you've been to people's websites and you look at everything that's on there. When is the last time you actually went and clicked on somebody's blog? You went out to read their blog? Probably no. You don't have it. That's just the most boring thing you can imagine. I don't want to do it. However, if you were really interested in what somebody was, offering, and you saw that little magic 3 letters, FAQ, frequently asked questions, that you probably would click on, because that's interesting. Hey, maybe someone asked the same question I did. But when you think about it, you're basically accomplishing the same thing as you're getting on the blog, except for you're doing it in a way that checks off 2 major boxes. Number 1, you're providing fresh, relevant, engaging content that the Google algorithm picks up on and helps with all the other, sort of traditional SEO things. But you're also increasing visitor engagement. You're increasing the likelihood that someone's going to go to your website and stick around and come back the next day and click on things and all these other things that Google wants to see. A lot of times there's this predated notion that all Google cares about is content, content, content. It cares about content, but it is actually watching what people do once they hit your website. And if it sees that people are going to your website and then just hopping right back out again, that's a sign to the Google algorithm that maybe it's not delivering the right traffic. If this was a good match, then people wouldn't just leave. They'd stick around, they'd watch, they'd pay attention to what's going on, they'd come back the next day. So you have to do stuff that is really good and valuable to the person you're trying to serve. And most of the time a blog, again, because of the fact that it's just exhausting for most people to write, they end up becoming just meaningless words, as opposed to thinking, really, what are the questions? What are the challenges that my ideal customer is really trying to figure out? Answer their questions. You can do 1 a month, you can do 2 a month, you're still adding content, you're doing it in a way that really improves the likelihood of you getting an engaged visitor or sort of winning your person over. It also goes to the way in which Google has sort of adapted and changed how it displays results. Whenever I do my extended workshops, I always kind of sort of counter this topic right out of the gate, because a lot of times with most businesses, and I would say everyone in this room, would probably like to have more organic visibility. They want more free website visits. That's almost always a constant thing. So you really have to think about what exactly are you trying to get? What kind of visitors and what intent do you want those visitors to have? Because depending on the words and phrases that people are typing, Google's gonna treat those in very, very different ways. So there are about 5.5 billion searches per day in Google, 5.5 billion. I ran some fun with numbers on that once upon a time, and I decided that the average search phrase was maybe about that long in characters, 3 or 4 words. If you were to line all those up in one long string of characters, it would wrap around the earth 3.5 times. If someone said, hey Google, can you do a hard print of all the words that were typed in the last 24 hours? It would create a stack of papers about 3 miles high. I mean, it's an enormous amount of data every single day. So you start with that basic idea that it's huge, huge amounts of data. But with all those searches, they can all be categorized into one of 3 kinds. Like every search you do on your phone, on your computer, is one of 3 things. It's either number 1, navigational. A navigational search is any kind of a search you do when you kind of already know what you're looking for, but you're just trying to find your way through the web to get there. It could be a person, it could be a movie, it could be a book, it could be a business. A navigational search on your brand should display results like with your website over here, with all your little other information below it, and your Google info panel off to the right. That's like sort of home base. For most businesses, achieving that is already, you're not gonna like, oh wow, I got better navigational searches. So the second kind of search is informational. This is when Google picks up on the idea that this person doesn't really know what they're looking for. They're doing research, they're trying to find things out. They wanna know how much does video production cost, or how, what scholarships are available for whatever. These are information seekers. When you do a search like that, Google's gonna display results very differently than in that first category. It's gonna show a list of URLs, and it's probably gonna show what's called an info panel and other questions. If you are providing answers to common questions, that is an opportunity for you to have organic visibility. Even in its early stage, it's not somebody that's like ready to call you right now, but it's somebody who wants to learn. So it's a very valuable potential source of traffic, and it sort of sets up a different strategy. The third type of traffic that you're probably most interested in is what Google considers transactional. So transactional means that Google picked up on the idea that this person is actually looking to engage the services with somebody or wants to buy a product or whatever. So those types of searches for Google specifically, this is a big change. It's happened throughout 2019. It's going to continue on. For most of the people in this room, maybe not you, because you can probably go national, they are really focused on what's called your Google My Business listing. That is the source of almost all the traffic you're going to get in a local market. It's that free little property that Google gives you that is going to be, again, for a transactional search, the very first thing that someone's going to see when they find you online. Because of that, reviews, photos, logo, how you're communicating, all of that stuff happens on that space. And a lot of times, you win just by doing that well. The trend that we've seen throughout the year, and what I expect to continue to see going forward, is that Google, because of this property, because it's trying to divert all these transactional searches to this thing, it's actually cannibalizing website visits. because you've probably seen this before. You probably said, I need a coffee shop, I need one now. If you type coffee shop near me or just coffee shop and you see that listing, you hit directions, call them, they won your business, but did you ever visit their website? Didn't need to. So there's a lot of industries that are falling into that category where you don't necessarily get a website visitor, but you still get a phone call, you still get someone asking for directions, or you still get someone asking you a question on that platform. They've done a huge amount of stuff over the last couple of years towards that, and every indication is that it will continue forward in that direction. There is some buzz even in the industry where Google's kind of hoping for a day when you don't necessarily even need a website, which is like, whoa. And that would only apply, in my opinion, to certain types of industries. I mean, if you're a restaurant or something like quick service, like emergency plumbing, whatever. But yeah, if you're in an industry where you really do need to educate your potential client, obviously probably most of you in this room, the website is not going away anytime soon. So, but the emphasis is there, and being super attentive and super focused on that space oftentimes can really be the thing that will put you over the top. The other very much growing thing, and it kind of goes into what Google, is YouTube. YouTube is and will continue to be the second most used search engine. It is the perfect way to capture people that are in their information seeking moment. If they're looking, how to this, what's the best way to do that? Again, you guys have all done this before. If we couldn't figure out how to use that coffee pot or that refrigerator or whatever, we'd watch a YouTube video, right? So if you're in a position in your industry, you're an expert, if you are a person who can dispense wisdom, you should absolutely have a YouTube channel. It is now, in my opinion, the replacement for what would have been the blog. And it is actually a piece of that section when I was talking about, you're gonna have a website with a frequently asked questions section. You should write those, but you should also embed videos on each and every one of those to answer those questions that people are asking. It creates what in economics is called a virtuous cycle, right? You have one thing that helps another, and that thing helps that thing, and then that thing in turn helps that. It creates a loop. So a YouTube channel is kind of almost into the realm of social media these days, where people who subscribe to channels that have content on them that they want to hear more about. So if you have that, you start making videos, hire Hannah back there, the website knocking up for you left and right. You basically create another source of leads, and anytime anybody goes to that channel and it's set up properly, that then leads to website visitors. Website visitors lead to more video views, which lead back to your YouTube channel, and so on and so forth. The sort of downside, if there is one, is that it is something that you really do have to do. It's not easily outsourced in terms of making good quality video content. There's no substitute for you speaking passionately about what it is you do. Nothing's going to do that. You can't hire them. You can obviously get professional video people to do the editing and the intro, outro sections. And that's our recommendation, is that you have a video strategy like that you basically do your talking head. You can throw in other little things or whatever, but to brand it in the right way, just have created a little 3 or 4 second intro and a 3 or 4 second what they call outro. You have that sort of in the can. You have those as your assets. All you can do is plop those in front of all your other videos, and now instead of just another video, you just blah blah blah, you have this really cool intro. You do your talk and you exit in this nice, professional way, and suddenly you've got yourself an entire video strategy. And just a couple of parting thoughts. It is kind of circling back to that idea of having a testing mentality. One of the great things about digital marketing is that you can try things without spending a ton of time, energy, and money. It's marketing, right? So we don't know. No one in this room can tell what marketing is going to work for me, which one's not. But if it's going to fail, you should be able to fail fast and fail cheap, and not be in a situation where you have to keep spending money doing something that isn't quite getting you what you're after. That's the correct thing to do. It's almost like, the Thomas Edison theory. It's like, I've tried 4 different marketing tactics, and as long as you do them correctly, if you've eliminated those as viable, that's a big deal too. You don't have to waste any more time wondering, should I be doing this or should I be doing that? So that's my sort of parting thing, is to really embrace that mentality, that your ultimate marketing strategy for 2020 or for any year is to be discovered, not dictated, not assigned. It's like, you have to learn what it is, be properly testing all the different channels and things and styles and value propositions and coloration, social media things and everything else.